took the time to come. I really do appreciate you knowing the importance of this press conference. I will start first by saying the letter or the accusations that the President of the Federation put out was intentionally dishonest and misleading. And the reason is the articles that he quoted. The President is educated, he went to school, he comprehends English very, very, very well, like all of us here. Those articles don't say anything to what he claimed to have as powers within his office. So from the first line in that letter, you can tell the letter itself is not the intention. And I will explain why. The first point that he puts out, where he accused us by having fraudulent documentation, he cited only one. And that was in reference to circular letter number 46. That was from actually FIBA requesting the President and the Secretary General to sign up online for the General Assembly for FIBA. Literally, two of them were addressed with a third member as an observer. Understand that very well. This was not a major business for FIBA. This FIBA telling South Sudan to exercise their right as members. So you can see for us, and that meeting was attended by the SG himself. I could not be an observer, I would have, but I was busy. So that indicates the ill intention. There is no fraud, and the documentation are there, by the way. We will keep everything we say is not true. You must, and you have the right, if you want to see proof, we will give you. We have the documentation. That is in regards to point one. The sabotage that he accuses of in regards to the national team, which is the second point, that sabotage cannot be true. Since day one, the President himself was the head coach, the technical team, the President of the Federation, and the scout. So we never had control over this. Even during the games, when you don't see him on the lines coaching, he was literally giving instructions, you know? So how do you sabotage something that you don't have control over? On the contrary, he's the one who several times, and we have it in writing, advising us to agree and get on board to pull the team out if FIBA doesn't listen to us or the organizers. And everything I'm saying, you can quote me, I have the communication to prove that. So that is not true. We could have not been in a position to sabotage the process of the national team. When it comes to the issue of Cameroon trip, I think the SG addressed it, and everything that he said is factual. There is a medical report. We have minutes of the same meeting we had here, including his current VP, Mr. Orom. We all have our minutes. What we said in that minute, in those meetings, we're there. We had someone that was attached from his side, actually conducting all the minutes, preparing the itineraries or the meetings in coordination with him. Those minutes are there. He read them, he saw them, and all of us. Cameroon was the last trip I made, and that was the second tournament. And the reasons why I never went back again to any tournament up to date is in those minutes. This is an official documentation. So Cameroon issue, it's an audacious attempt by him to try to push that on us, the four of us. The decision, even in Cameroon, he says, and I quote, he says actually he gave directives. You see? Nobody has monopoly over a decision. You know, three of us are an executive. Three of us were elected. We can discuss and agree. And guess what? In an office setting like this, it's always three. We discuss. If two align together, it becomes 2 against 1, and we decide. COVID protocol were very clear to everyone. You go on a trip. If your trip gives you a long layover where your COVID negative test runs out, you do another test before you travel. And that's what we did in Nairobi. You know, we received our negative results and we came home. There is no violation in that. The alleged situation in that regards is baseless. I combine point 4, 5, and 6 as one because he had 6 allegations. When we had our wild card to Rwanda, this is what he said exactly at the press conference. When he decided to coach, he said there was no time for us to have a coach. And that was not true. His brother was the coach. Coach Joe did a great job. We saw him in Kenya. We lost only 1 game in that tournament. We went to Cameroon also, we lost 1 game. So that's a great record. So for us, or for him to state clearly that he had to take over because we didn't have a coach, is a false narrative that he was giving. Because our coach that took us that far was still there, right next to him in Rwanda. He wasn't sick. We as an office, we had a discussion. I didn't go to Rwanda. We had a discussion after the tournament, and we saw the trend. There is a lot of missteps. As the president, when you take over as the head coach, if you make a mistake as a head coach, who holds you accountable? No one. You cannot be held accountable. You see? And since you cannot be held accountable, you should never ever take a job when you are the boss. You see? We had a lot of observation that we wanted to discuss with him, but we could not discuss because he is the president of the federation and the head coach and the technical team and literally everything. So coming to the women coach hiring, which is the second, 5th and 6th, we had a discussion. We have a record. The fact that he does not know about it or he's not aware of it is not true. We had a lengthy discussion, and again, it was 2 against 1. And we told him the mistakes that we made in the men's national team, we should not replicate it here. And since this coach is offering, actually, it's an MBA coach, she's offering to coach for free. Why wouldn't we take that? You know? And on top of that, she's a woman. She will know actually how to grow these programs at home. And she was willing to do that. She said, I'll coach the national team. I'll see what I can bring back home whenever I'm free. We lost that because of all this chaos. So all the allegations that the president actually levied against us, they're all not true. And we will back everything up with documentation and the dates that we discussed this. I will come to my department, though I was responding to the letter because I've been accused in that letter too. Even though the accusation were all in lump sum, I don't communicate to FIBA, it's not my mandate, but it's still I'm right there in the letter. Most of the points you see there, if you see where finance is involved, I'm nowhere. But yet, I'm in the letter as part of suspension. So if that does not raise eyebrows, I don't know what will. When it comes to finance, we've been in office for 3 years. We've never conducted any General Assembly up to now. Well, by November, we'll have our 3rd year. We have not conducted any General Assembly. I don't have a single financial report up to date. I don't have a single financial report. From the days when Luan said he was paying out of his own pocket, I don't have a report, to now when actually I have record of national companies giving money for the national team. I never oversaw that spending. So there's a lot of overreach from the office of the president. You know, we were 3 elected not out of nothing or dumbness from the people that elect us. They wanted us to have checks and balances. But if you look at it now, the president is the president, the SG, the finance, the technical team, the head coach, and the treasurer. Because finance and treasurer are different. Now, let me point out the conflict in this. If we have all the departments set up correctly, we will all sit, discuss, that's including the department concerned, let's say information. Information wants an advertisement budget. They will bring it to us, bring the budget, we'll all discuss. If it's approved by the president, the SG, then it comes to me for an allocation. When can we allocate this money? And then I release the money. But now, if you have the president, he is the president that is discussing the project, he is the approver, he is actually also cashing in where's the checks and balances? And the president is not doing this out of ignorance. He's taking the country for granted. Because he has LDF in the UK, and he has the same in the US. And he has done businesses in these places, but I doubt he actually held every position in those businesses that he was involved. So I asked myself, why are we doing it at home? You guys as journalists, you should hold us accountable. We all come from the West. The 2 of us are American citizens. If I never litter in the US, when I'm driving down the road, I don't throw anything out. Why would I come to Dubai and be allowed to do so? You know? If you find someone that knows better and behave different, you should hold them accountable. So if the president does not do this when he is in the West, why is he allowed to do it at home? Shouldn't we all behave better? That's the question for all of you, South Sudanese. You know? If we do not hold ourselves to that standard, then where are we going? The whole fight here is we are fighting for institution. We want tomorrow when a finance secretary come after me, I hand him files. Right now we still have an estimated budget of $170,000. That's the national team budget. That has all the salaries, all the per diem, you know, and miscellaneous. It's not a big bill for a country. We still have it as an estimated budget. After 3 years, that's wrong. We should actually have a proper budget that we develop over these years, you know, and we can have a point of reference to that. So, as we are right now, we don't have any agreement with any entity. You know, LDF and the Federation don't have any financial agreement, don't have any sort of agreement on how to run those businesses together. We don't have any sponsorship that I'm aware of. We've never received any funding directly to SSBF. The only money that we receive is when we wanted to do the National League. And those came from actually companies that have something to do with me, so directly it's money that was released on my side, and I don't want to claim that money. And those materials are there right now. We have over 240 something jerseys, trophies and everything. The tournament is ready, but it was sabotage. You know? So if as a head of finance I don't have any agreement with any entity, should we all take the president's word for it, that he says, okay, I was paying out of my pocket? Because the way donation works, if I say I'm going to support the Federation, this is how also it works in the West. It has to come out of my pocket, or write a check, give it to that entity, and that entity is accountable back to me. That never happened. So it was spending out of pocket. The president himself turned around and in press conferences that you guys covered, saying he has sponsors. I'm unaware of those sponsors. The SG is not aware of the sponsors. So how does that work? You know, do we work for South Sudan or someone else? Because this is a public entity. We're here today, somebody will come and take over tomorrow. You see? So how does this work really? You know, we just take somebody's word for it all along. So the only reason we have conflict with the president, and I will finish, is that, you know, we refuse to pick up pom-poms. You know, these cheerleaders, they carry these flary things. You know, when there is a break, we refuse to carry those and start turning to cheerleaders. That's the only reason. Everybody now in basketball community, and most even the senior members that's supposed to show us the way, they turn into cheerleaders. That's why we can't even find a way forward. The truth is so glaring right there. It's right before everybody's eyes. The Constitution is clearly, it states, you know, the conflict of interest is so clear. Everything that was supposed to be done Federation is done Lol Deng Foundation. And nobody's saying anything. That's the only conflict we have now with work, is because we have a dissenting voice that says, no, this is not right. You know? So I will stop here. If I have left anything out, maybe your questions will bring it back up, or in our closing remarks, we'll still address it.